Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer, and this is the Road to the Record weekly review special for week 41 of the Gaming Decathlon competition. This week, massive surprise. I brought in 2,641 points, a very large increase from where we were last week at 2,290, and even last week was a surprise. So it's been a really good couple weeks for us in terms of scoring in the Gaming Decathlon. Best round, though, still a little bit away from us, but we're awfully close to it. 2641 is not that far off from 2899, and we scored that back in week 23, so 18 weeks ago now. Current virtual best, risen to 3,379, up more than 300 points. The all-time virtual best, though, there's only 2 games inside that top 10, and neither one of them scoring this week. So that remains unchanged. Looking at the 10 games individually, in Pro Cycling Manager 2019, this is where a lot of the points came from. In the career mode, we added 73 points, up to 340 now. Just about to the end of the season on that one, so that score is not going to come up much more. PCM 19, Pro Cyclist Stage Racer, we did end the season. We ended with 388 points. As a Pro Continental rider, that's a lot of points, 388. Very surprised that we got that high still as a Pro Continental rider. And we're going to start next season. In fact, we started next season, at least got to January 1st anyway. And we move up to World Tour status with Team CCC. In the Classics Rider series, we're at 256 points. Also a large increase. All 3 of those were large increases from a week ago. This one, almost 80 points up from where it was. Still Pro Continental, but also just about to hit the end of the season on that one. And we signed a contract for next season to move to the World Tour. Motorsport Manager, massive move this week. I went from 3 points to 19. I got both cars in the points and fairly high up the order with a top 5 for one of the cars, and we jumped from 3 points to 19 in just a single race. It was huge. Some of it was tactics. It was not all, the car's not suddenly there. Most of it was, there was rain, we timed it right, we were on the right tire at the right time, pushing the right way when we could, how we could, really taking advantage of the scenario presented to us by the weather. No extra pit stops like a few cars had. Only had 1 spin out in the race, while a lot of other cars had multiple incidents. So kept it mostly clean, and really, really, really paid off. An excellent result. Now we sit on 19 points. That's after months with 0. And just in the last couple of weeks, we've gone from 0 to 2 to 3 to 19. Still not a big number. 19 is very small, but at least we're off and rolling. And now, with those 19 points, we're easily secure for Formula One for next season. So no relegation for us. We will stay put almost certainly now. And as we continue to develop the car, we should, theoretically, next season score a lot more points than we got this season. We're still at the back end of the grid, but we should more consistently start cracking the top 10 in the not-so-distant future, and especially once we start next season. Steel Division 2, still ongoing, still pushing through that 3rd campaign. Haven't reached the results yet, but after a breakthrough, we're now pushing towards the targets and have a chance to take them. I don't know what the deadline is. I don't know where we're at in that regard, but we have really started to break down their defenses and have an opportunity now. Rebel Cops, 4th campaign completed, so we're now at 200 points. Did a pretty good job on that one. Got it done in just a couple episodes, only a couple of restarts. Really starting to get the hang of how to run it properly, correctly. The next step, though, is I need to take some of the advice that I've been getting from the comments about where you can gain experience faster and start picking up some of those options. Draft Day Sports College Basketball 2019. Last week we ended the season, our best season ever, with a national championship appearance, though we lost, so we finished 2nd in the nation. This was our off-season special as we moved forward into the recruiting and trying to see for the first time if we can start recruiting inside the top 25 with our increased prestige. Not so sure yet because it's not quite there. We're basically Conference B level now in prestige and not yet equal with our counterparts in the conference. PCM 18 career mode, 137 points. Only a few points added from last week to now. We're in the middle of a race, so it slows things down. But the pace is definitely a little bit off this season compared to last season. I don't know if it's the races I'm in or what's going on, or if I'm too used to PCM 19 now, but I'm struggling slightly there. A little bit. F1 2019, last question mark career. Big result. Also big surprise. So the first episode of the week, after finally finding some stability, I'd only had 2 bad races the entire time that I was with Renault. The rest were all successes, all going well. 2 bad races is very minor, and my reputation was slowly building. I still wasn't totally clear of the danger zone, but it was definitely going upward. It was improving, and it was finally going, okay, I'm going to be with Renault for a long time. There's the series. We're going to be a Renault driver. Yay. And then I ended a race weekend, a successful race weekend, with a nasty question from Claire that ended up being a trap, and instead of helping my reputation, it hurt my reputation a lot. And then the next race following that, a DNF, a failed team goal, and a lost rival all at once took all that we had built and made it all come crashing down to 0, and we were fired. Second episode of the week, we moved on to the 8th team, and at the moment the 10th team on the grid, Alfa Romeo. So sudden move over to Alfa, but within a few races we got into the points. We're getting there. We're getting the hang of the car. It's a little bit difficult to drive. It's a little bit slow compared to everybody else, and that hurts. It does have the slowest engine out there, so it's really hard to get runs on cars at times. But I'm getting a lot better, making clean passes. I survived Monaco. That was one of the 3 races. We finished in last for that one, so that's now our second bad result of the season, while everything else has been good, positive. But after 3 races, reputation is building. We finished a team goal. So everything's going the right direction. We're making a lot of improvements to the car, and actually they already had a lot of improvements to the car, even though it was worst on the grid. Part of that was because they had a bunch of reliability upgrades that mean nothing to me for this series. And so that kind of hurts because they invested all that time and effort into something that really doesn't matter. But it does help the score, I guess, from here, because car upgrades are part of that score. So we actually end up outscoring where we were a week ago into the new season. After those points were wiped out, we've already recovered those points through the first few races. So we're in good shape, 256 points. Finally, Draft Day Sports College Football 2019. Things were going really well, but then the season didn't end quite how I wanted or expected it to. So we could end up matching our total from last season. We just missed out on a conference championship game. So we're kind of in the same boat of where we've been lately. And recruiting, way harder this season. Way harder. The other schools just really came in and swept the players away from us. So it's kind of turning into a big positive, and late on it's turning into a bit of a negative season for us. Surprisingly and unfortunately. But as we shift over to the virtual best, the all-time virtual best side, again, that top 10, totally unchanged. My 2 active games didn't score in that territory. But the outside looking in, drastic change. For one thing, college football was ranked 12th. It drops a spot. It drops a spot because the stage racer for Pro Cycling Manager jumps from 17th to 11th this week with 86 points more than it had a week ago. So it is now the number one game on the outside looking in to the top 10. And behind counterpart PCM 18 in one of its modes. But of course, this is Pro Cyclist mode. Stage Racer is what we did on that game that it's number one out there. So I know that I could score points with this. We're playing on a harder difficulty level, but it is what it is. And just at the Continental Pro, we're already amassing a high point total. But again, the season just ended. So that 388 will sit there for quite a while. But we're on our way to the World Tour. So we'll probably pass it next season. And we're heading in as a team leader for CCC. So that should have an impact. Also, moving in to this list, all the way up to 15th place from where it was. I don't know what position it was in a week ago, but it was below 17th at least. So 18th or below. So moving up to 15th with a score of 340, PCM 19 career mode. So I've got the last two edition career modes and the last two Pro Cyclist Stage Racer at least modes from 18 and 19 all in or sniffing around the top 10 with the latest editions on their way up. That Classics rider, well, it's still a ways behind score-wise. It's over 100 down. Not quite 100 from career mode anyway. But that season's just about to end as well. In fact, all three of them are either about to end or just did end. So it's still going to be a while before we actually see those scores crack the top 10. But they're certainly making waves this week. But that's going to do it for this review special. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Decathlon Gamer. I'll see you next week. Bye for now.